تقرير مجد الكيلاني. Welcome our guest Elizabeth Jones. You are chairwoman of the UKIP Lambeth.
That's correct.
And UKIP National Executive Committee.
Yes, that's correct.
Are you going to be UKIP leader next? You should stand for the leadership.
I did stand. I stood last year in 2016.
I know, but you should stand. We need you now.
Oh, well, thank you.
Right. Nigel Farage,
Yes.
your leader, said there is a conspiracy to reverse Brexit.
He's entirely right. I wouldn't call it a conspiracy. I would call this Project Fear Round 3. They're all at it. There's like a whirlwind of chaos. We've just had Stormophilia.
Right. So the Stormophilia,
Yeah.
actually, I've shown that. With this week's Mrs. May Ophelia?
I wouldn't say she was Ophelia, no.
As a storm, I mean, she had her Ophelia.
I would say that would be giving her too much dramatic status.
Right.
I would say, frankly, I feel very sorry for the Conservatives because I'm sure when they chose
I
Theresa
meant like
May,
finding her dead in a stream.
again, that's too dramatic. I don't think we'd find her cowering somewhere in a
Right,
cardboard
yeah.
box, hiding away from
She
everyone.
did badly at Prime Minister questions this
well,
week.
does she ever do a good job at
Well, it's the other one who
PMQs?
does a bad job.
Does she ever do a good job?
No. And so the wheeling out Hillary Clinton to project fear, and then she attacks your boss,
I
former
know.
boss, Nigel Farage.
Well, quite remarkable, really. I find Hillary Clinton quite remarkable because one thing you notice, she's always photographed on her own. And let's not forget, she and Bill remain a married power couple. She is still married to Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is still head of the Clinton Foundation, the foundation which did not return the Harvey Weinstein donation. And Bill Clinton also received funds from Harvey Weinstein during the course of his Monica Lewinsky trial.
Okay, I don't want to go into legal.
No, we won't go legal.
But I'm saying
bit of a
there
hypocrite.
was the sort of accusation of corruption.
Yes,
but
for sure.
I'm not accusing them.
No one needs to hear from Hillary Clinton anymore.
Right.
She lost twice. She lost against Obama. She lost against Trump.
But she actually is blaming Nigel Farage. She's blaming everyone but herself.
Well, she would, wouldn't she? But she's lost twice in the past. She and democracy are not friends. The electorate doesn't like her. They're not interested in her. Neither am I. And neither are many of the students at Swansea University who are booing her and calling her a fascist when she turned up there this week in order to open the law school.
But Nigel Farage also, in his show, I think on Tuesday evening, was saying the world establishment, and he mentioned, speaking of power couples, Tony Blair, and the Organization of Economic Development, everyone coming out now. Is there a genuine attempt to reverse Brexit?
Of course there is. Of course there is. I mean, look, you just touched on it then, the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development based in Paris. The UK government pays them, what, £10 million per annum? EU gives them vast amounts of money. And what have they said? They have said that Brexit will be as bad for Britain as the Blitz.
Right.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
But they were wrong before the referendum.
They're always wrong. I mean, all this is about is that these people in these highly paid public sector jobs feel that they are no longer getting deferred to by we, the taxpayer. They are worried that soon the focus will be on their very highly paid jobs and whether they continue to be necessary. And they're worried also about losing control. And this Brexit vote has given them the heebie-jeebies, and they are very, very, very scared.
Perhaps they should join Boris behind the bushes to take a break. نذهب إلى استراحة قصيرة. ابقوا معنا. And now back to Elizabeth Jones. We have a lot to talk about.
We certainly do.
What do you think of Thomas the Tank Engine story? I mean, it's political correctness.
It's absolute total absurdity. It's of its time. It's a part of British culture. Many of these loony lefties who are criticising Thomas the Tank, if we were to do this to, let's say, an Indian myth or an African story, we would be accused of cultural appropriation by seeking to change it. But they're quite happy to change British culture and British heritage.
Actually, speaking of that, there are now lecturers at universities are sensitive not actually to discuss subjects in Shakespeare and Julius Caesar, in Macbeth, because it might actually upset someone.
It's absolutely ridiculous. The Thomas the Tank Engine one is particularly bad. It's a well-known and beloved
and
classic. Children love it. And the complaints are that it's introducing children to nasty competitiveness. Well, I'm sorry, that is life. You're going to be competing to get a job, competing to get a spouse.
There are actually games and even characters now in cinema where the heroine is a woman. And then you get that spilled to the NHS now. Doctors keep asking people about it. And anyway, but they say they have got time to police that, but they haven't got time for these terrorists. The MI6, Andrew, he says that they don't have actually resources to...
Well, do you see it like that? I mean, I was reading through the Andrew Parker story, and I was a bit concerned, really. It seems to me like he's trying to terrify us with this Islamic extremism.
The timing now, you see, Mosul has actually fallen 2 months ago. What's the timing of it?
Well, the timing of it is right. First of all, it's a big scare story. Ooh, Islamic extremism is going to come and get ya. So he's like that. We've got more attacks in Britain or pending than ever before. What's all this coinciding with? It's coinciding yet again with Project Fear Part 3. This is all about Brexit because he is involved with the counter-terrorism group, which is an EU group. They all get together and meet, and he's sort of quite hugger-mugger meeting with
But actually, to give him credit, in the interview on BBC Radio 4, who are pro-EU anyway, the BBC, he actually corrected the presenter. He said the anti-terrorist agreement and security cooperation agreement is with each country individually, is nothing to do with the EU.
Oh no, it's not the overarching EU, but that is, I see, as the message behind this. It's a very subtle attack, yet again, on Brexit. And frankly, I mean, don't you think it's rather misplaced that he is seeking publicity? I'm sure you remember, I certainly do, during the height of the IRA, when we had the Irish Republican Army, were involved in very serious terrorism. I would say more serious than the Islamic extremism we're experiencing now. And we never heard a peep from the head of MI5. They were very discreet.
I wish she was actually, she was Stella Remington. She was a little bit more subtle than that. But I think, to be fair, I think the IRA at least were a bit predictable. They used to give warning, apart from NSK and quite a few things, but they give warning. But these ones are a bit unpredictable. I mean, because you are in the legal profession.
Sure. Well, they are. Well, some of the Irish ones obviously were unpredictable as well. All what they used to do is give the notice very close to the timing of the bomb. Because so, and also...
And the Irish wanted really economic
We
hardship.
understood what the Irish wanted.
We don't,
We don't know what the Islamic extremists want. And also, I mean, it's a clash of resources. I mean, I work in Fulham, round the corner from me. There was a recent stabbing. Some poor young 20-year-old boy was stabbed to death. Now, it seems to me that the police aren't getting the resources either. So who does get the resources?
I forgot to ask you, as a lawyer, actually, the police now is saying they're not going to investigate someone broken into, or an old lady being mugged, or a car is broken into, and so on. Is it actually giving green light to robbers? And
well, it probably will be. I mean, I don't know how it'll actually pan out. I'm also concerned that BBC has cancelled Crime Watch, a 33-year-old programme.
Yeah, just explain to our viewers. Crime Watch was a program when a big crime happened. People go on the BBC, half-an-hour program, reconstruct the scene, and then ask for help, and people come and help. Yeah, but is it to do with viewers, or again misplacing resources?
I think that wasn't a misplaced resource. I think that would have been very, very helpful, because it puts that information out into the public community, so all of us can look to see what and help the police. So in a way, it would be a bargain for the police, a significant reduction in their expenditure, because the public are actively helping them after having seen Crime Watch. So why they've cancelled Crime Watch?
I think what I heard from the BBC, they said it's to do with rating. They used to be watched by 50 million, now it's been watched by 1 million.
1 million.
Is that what they say? I'm not quite sure how
I'd
they
like to
measure
see
that.
the stats of that.
It was quite popular, actually.
It was a very, very popular programme.
Yeah, when I was actually news editor, crime was always the red page. Are you actually allowed in court as a lawyer? For example, the police will always go and and investigate something I write on Twitter if someone complained as being racist or xenophobic. Are you allowed in court as a lawyer to raise something that the police were misplacing its resources, or only up to the judge?
Well, it's not really relevant. The relevancy will be, has a crime been committed?
Right.
And the quality of evidence that's going to be presented to either say the crime has been committed or it hasn't. So that's more of a political policy issue. So it's
not. So it's up to politicians who actually cut police resources in the first place. Thank you very much for coming. It's always a delight to have you there.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.
You.
هذا كل ما عندنا. بنشكر إليزابيث وبنشكركم. ما تنسوش تتابعونا على تويتر @أديل دارويش وعلى الفيسبوك من لندن، ونشوفكم الأسبوع الجاي. إلى اللقاء.